Good afternoon, class. So for geography today, we are starting a new learning sequence on water in the world. This is a key part of the Stage 4 New South Wales Geography curriculum, which of course applies to you guys. So we're now moving into this new exciting area, which is very relevant for so many things in our world, for so many people, for sustainability, the environment. It relates to all of these issues. Water in the world. So the task, to just give you an idea where we're going, the task is going to be a research project, an overview describing the realities and the processes and the accessibility of water in a particular part of the world. So you may choose any country or region of a continent that you like. Think different climates, think different biomes, that sort of thing. Choose one and give me an overview of what the water situation in this place is like. So things to think about are how water is distributed spatially. What are the spaces in which water is found? Is it easily accessible? Is it scarce? What do you have to do to access it? Is it clean? Does it have to go through processes in order to be usable in a safe manner? Think of those factors. How is it distributed spatially, and how does that impact the way in which people use it? Also think about the processes from nature and from humans which impact water availability and water use. Is water readily available? Does water have to go through purification? Is water used for irrigation in farming communities? Many different ways in which water is used. And also think about the big question, water sustainability, and how we as people can achieve it, and how we can achieve more equitable access to water. It feels like there's plenty of water in the world, but many millions of people on the planet go without it every day. It's a struggle to find water in many parts of the world. How can we fix this? How can water scarcity be reduced? Think about that. So in particular, to give you some more ideas about where this could go, think about the uses of dam water, rainwater, where it's collected and where it can be used, communities where people must boil water to make it safe and drinkable. That's a reality in many parts of the world as well. Think about if that was your everyday life. What's the impact of that? What do you need to make that sustainable? How can you improve that situation? What would be needed to be put in place to make water, safe water, a basic human right, more easily accessible? Think about places where there are severe droughts and where water is very scarce indeed. For many years that was a reality right here in Australia. For the early part of the 21st century, there was a long drought in regional Australia. Many parts of this country, New South Wales, Queensland, many states. In many parts of the world, many parts of Africa, many parts of Asia, this is still a reality. Water is scarce, there are droughts. How do we alleviate this? How do we provide ways of getting water to the people who live in those communities? Think about that. So think of the implications these factors would have on agriculture, on the environment, and on human populations. These things are all multifaceted. Water is used in so many different ways and for so many different purposes, as we know. It's all connected. How do we improve what is there? Or in a community where water supply is good, where it's reasonably fair, how have they achieved that? What policies were put in place? What structures were put in place? What technology was needed to achieve a fair and equitable distribution and use of water? There's things to be learned from places who are doing well, and things to be learned from communities where there's more of a struggle around this area and where there's room for improvement. So choose a country or a region and focus on that. So in presenting your reports, you can choose any format you want, essentially. This will allow different learning styles to feel they're in their sweet spot when they're completing this work. Any format which is best for you, you may choose that. So a YouTube video with the information you're presenting is fine. A PowerPoint show could be a good way of showing the information you've collected. You can write an essay for the writers in the room, and for people who do, I'm looking at 1,500 words should be sufficient, and that's the equivalent we're looking for in other formats as well. You can do a verbal spoken piece to the class you can present at the end of the learning sequence if you so wish as well. So any formats, if there's any other ideas you have, happy to chat through those and listen to what you've got to say about how you'd most like to present. We're open to many different things, so different learning styles, whatever your preference is, go for it. There should be a way to make it happen. So in putting it together, everything must be communicated using the best use of language and grammar, of course. Communication of ideas in a clear, concise, unambiguous manner. Make sure what you're saying is coming across in the way you're intending, with the right language and right grammar. As I said, make sure that is as good as you can get it. Also incorporate mathematical skills as well. Show me statistics. Show me numbers relating to quantities of water. Show me the data relating to population, demographics, that kind of thing. Numbers are a huge part of this. What kind of figures are we talking about if we're talking about water and its supply to people? We need to know numbers. That needs to be incorporated into this as well. As a starting point, as the first point of research, as we get started on this, we'll be looking at a report and a very good interactive resource from National Geographic. They obviously are great at the exploration of geography and making it accessible to pretty much anyone. For people like us who just are curious about the world, they've got resources for everything. In this particular piece, they have a it's like a mind map, but it's a water map and showing water gaps. So right, water map with water gaps, showing where water is most accessible and least accessible, giving some ideas of how we can fix that. Very good resource for this kind of project. I'll link that to you all, and there will be more resources coming as we proceed through the learning sequence. So that should be all we need to do for now. I'll share that with you, and there will be more coming very soon, and we will begin our work now. Thank you. Let's go. This is going to be an explanation of the rationale and logic behind the integration of strategies and resources I have used in part A. So at the foundation of my approach to the curriculum and the research project I chose for part A, and the real foundation for my approach to teaching in my life and career, is providing quality and equitable education in a manner best suited for all students. That's why I'm not too prescriptive in how a unit of work should be completed. I'd rather provide guidelines and an end goal, and then empower students to take whatever way is best for them to reach that outcome, to reach that goal. I think there's a lot of freedom in that, which students respond to very well. So facilitating independent work is also what best allows a teacher and support staff to come alongside the students who most need the extra help or extra assistance or extra processing of data, that kind of thing. And underpinning all of this is data I've found from many sources over the years since I started studying to become a teacher and since becoming a teacher. Zoning in particular for the purposes of this assessment, on one article I discovered a peer-reviewed journal piece from Frontiers, which gave evidence on how differentiated instruction, or DI, differentiated instruction, delivered real and significant outcomes for students, both socially and academically. There's a lot of evidence in this particular article suggesting that, and with data backing that up. So I'll be sure to link that in the reference list. There's also research, which I've weaved into my approach, which shows that allowing students to do independent work leads to a higher level of self-motivation for students. In particular, it's been reported by Malcolm Gladwell and other researchers that certain individuals will lead the way in this area. There'll always be some who are more kind of naturally inclined to go for it and just, complete the task. And that these individuals will then inspire the larger group or class to get onto the same wavelength and try and catch up. And Gladwell calls these people connectors. So any approach which utilizes connectors and the influence they have among their peers is definitely one I am supportive of. In terms of the adjustments I enabled for the teaching of the lesson in Part A, for the research project, which was the core of what I was doing, I was very keen to allow students to use whatever format they wanted in preparing the reports, which was central to that assignment. It's an adjustment for the benefit of all students, regardless of who they are or what their learning needs are. A research project of this nature is perfect for such an approach. It's perfect for allowing students to take whatever path is best for them. And backing this up, I found a brilliant peer-reviewed article from Sage Journals, the great educational resource, on the benefits of, to give the title, Integrating Technology for Students with Emotional and Behavioral Disorders to Promote Engagement. Very useful, very practicable, perfect for engaging a wide range of learners, learners with neurodiverse needs, that kind of thing. Technology, of course, it's a technology-saturated world in which we live. These students who I'm teaching are more technologically advanced than my generation or older generations. So generally, there's usually a lot of enthusiasm around the use of technology. There's a lot of recognition of the usefulness of technology for completing units of work. So harnessing that, using those benefits for the benefit of the students is 100% a positive thing so far as I'm concerned. And it also, allowing that to be one aspect of things that students can do in their approach to completing the task is useful for different learning styles. You have visual learners, auditory learners. Attention spans can be an issue. Allowing a great deal of freedom in how a student approaches their work, allowing them to utilize technology is very helpful for solving issues around those things. For the resource I chose from the National Geographic, it's available in translation into different languages, as are most online resources, which is very useful for ESL students. So these language adjustments are also, of course, essential for any diverse setting in which we teach, which is everywhere, essentially. We're surrounded by diversity, and of course, catering to that is a key part of equitable education. So anything to further that end, I am supportive of.